Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do my first versus video for an anime and its movie adaptation. A movie adaptation that's gotten a lot of flack over the last year. The Death Note movie. This review was suggested by my friend Duita, and I just want to thank her again for this. Now, I'm not a huge horror or slasher or anything serial killer related person, but the anime was really interesting. It had some nice, deep themes of morality and right and wrong that were more complex. We have a protagonist, Light Yagami, who, by the way, I know I might mispronounce a lot of stuff in this video, just bear with me. But anyway, Light is our protagonist, and at first, he has good, albeit misplaced intentions of cleansing the world of evil, and as well as delusions of being a god. And he is a very fascinating character because in the beginning we can't see where he's coming from, but as the series goes on he becomes colder and starts to see it as more and more of a game. Around the 6th or 7th episode, after he starts to brag to people as he kills them that he is Kira. And for those of you who don't know, when you write the name and the Death Note, if you have their face in mind as you write it, they die within the time frame that you say. And if it's not within 40 seconds that you say the exact manner of death, it will simply be a heart attack. Another thing that's interesting with the character of Light, though, is that he always seems to have a plan. He hides it very carefully in his drawer, the notebook, and has to be accessed for a secret compartment, hitting it just with a pencil. And there's plenty of times when he's given a notebook away only to reobtain it later, all according to plan, as well as always having a few steps planned ahead, and it's really interesting to see where it's going. His opponent, L, is trying to solve the Kira case, and at one point even asks Light for help, which leads to some really great dynamics. There are many times L suspects Light of being Kira, and I really enjoy these moments too. It's like a constant battle of wits back and forth with them, and there are lots of nice scenes when they interact. Like one particular moment I liked was a tennis match. That really was one of their first interactions, and L going off of that the fact that he knew Kira hates to lose, but always, but L always, Light always seems to have a plan out, but L would still be one step ahead, and the two back and forth trying to figure it out is really interesting. And we have the Shinigamis, the main of which is Ryuk, who is a really fun character. He provides most of the comedy, which is dark, and he has a funny obsession, more like addiction with apples, and it's clear that he just finds this whole thing really fun to watch for him. But he's not for or against Light. He's sort of in the middle. A problem I have with the film to a slight extent that I'll get to when we get to there. Misa is a character who becomes the second Kira and made a deal to have the same Shinigami eyes to see people's lifespans, while also cutting her own lifespan in halves. She can be really annoying, but at times she can also be funny, and you also feel bad for her because of how much she's being manipulated by Light throughout the series. And she really feels he loves her when that's not the case at all. Light manipulates a lot of people, and he's not a really likable protagonist, but he's charming in his ways of going about his killing, and so clever and such a manipulative jerk that he's actually interesting to watch. Yeah, but the themes are really what makes this so great. The themes of morality and getting into deep into this idea of the Death Note, how Light's competence and desire to be a god, and cockiness and underestimating his opponents, how all that leads to his downfall. Now, on to the movie. The movie took everything that was really interesting about the show, but then took it away. It's gone. The ways of killing are more over the top, and I'm not a gore fan, but even if I was, I would be disappointed. In the show, the deaths were very understated, most of them off screen or in heart attacks, and they were already in prison. Here, they're blatant decapitations, and it's clear that these are freak incidents, and it makes it even more suspicious with the fact that Light is behind it all. And I doubt the Light from the anime would have done this because he's more subtle and manipulative and finding ways around it, which he doesn't do any of in this. The mind games with him and Elle are also at a real minimum. It's like the last 40 minutes where they actually meet, and then even then it goes more into chases and all and trying to catch him. They don't play off each other as well as they did in the anime, which is a real shame. Light also doesn't have any real manipulative or sneaky moments until the end, and the only one he really has really backfires. Misa, or Mia in this one, actually has far more of that. And while it is interesting to see her character in a different light, no pun intended. But yeah, it just feels so out of place, and it doesn't feel like a definite movie at all, which is a problem because if you're going to just take the concept but then change it up so much, make something slightly similar but different. And the film isn't even set in Japan, so it really denies its Japanese heritage, which is a real shame in my opinion. And yeah, it is whitewashed, and they couldn't even keep the last name the same from Yagami to Turner, which is a lot more common. And I like Japanese anime names. I can think of, since I don't watch as many of them, I can think of fewer people with a certain name as opposed to something like Turner, which Timmy Turner, Tina Turner, Will Turner, fictional and real Turners all over the place. So that makes it less interesting and doesn't give it something that I can just attribute to Light himself. But there are things Mu does right. Ryuk is still entertaining and manipulative, but at the same time, I have a problem that he really pushes Light into writing the Death Note as opposed to Light starting on his own, which really proved who he was as a character. But that's not the fault of Ryuk himself, and L, for what he's given and such little time with Light, is still enjoyable and how he's quick to figure things out, but the constant give and take back and forth isn't there, so it really ruins the film. The Death Note movie isn't terrible by the strictest terms of the word. It's a bad adaptation, but it might be a mediocre to alright film on its own, but it took out everything that was special about the anime until it's just a slenderman film that's more focused on looking dark and gritty and having more storylines that don't really add to them, like a more of a romance between Light and Misa, which wasn't needed. The way it was in the anime was fine, and it showed who Light was as a character. But if you want to just have a great anime, Death Note is a perfect choice for it. But if you want a film that's great, and if you are a fan of Death Note and haven't seen the film yet, you're going to be very disappointed. Not a terrible film, but a bad adaptation. So thank you for watching this video, and let me know what animated adaptations into films do you think are some of the weakest ones, and other ones that you think are actually work. And as always, comment any animated films you want me to review in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Until then, see ya!